last weekend. And North Carolina has waited to get back home. The number 5 seed in the playoffs a year ago, knocked out in the opening round. 3-time Shield winner, 2-time champion, are ready to kick it off in Cary. First touch belongs to North Carolina, and here we go in week 2. North Carolina hosting Seattle. G steps in, ball tapped away by Mercado. Drop back by Bell. I'm excited to see each of these teams in 2025. You've got this North Carolina side where the top 4 was clearly defined at the end of last season, but it felt like it was really a top 5 the way North Carolina finished. And this Seattle team where expectation should be getting back to the playoffs after going the previous 5 years.
And I think the North Carolina Courage, Mike, have been historically hard to beat, especially at home. But I think defensively, they're that team that are relentless. They love to have possession of the ball. And I think that Sean Nahas has added players to the team this year that can get to goal quicker and get in those goals to be able to score goals. They didn't score enough goals last year for me, and they still had a really good season.
Should be better. They started the entire system.
Here comes North Carolina in transition. Manaka. Shaw, the option off the left, touches inside. Flares high toward O'Sullivan, and here's G.
I mean, just 1 minute into the game, Mike, and we can already see the gaps in between. I said about Angry James Turner being able to hold that position, but that was too easy for the Courage to go from back to front
4 games
in transition in those moments. And I think
4.
Seattle Reign got quite fortunate there that the ball ended up falling with them, but they'll be looking to close up those gaps in the midfield with Manaka.
Here's Berkeley.
One
has a different
yesterday.
outside back to her left tonight. Feely Rauch was questionable due to illness, but does not make the roster. With that, Heather McNabb
on their
Amber
stream
Wynn signed a
trying to get their
short-term
website
deals
to
for
work.
a
Let's use my phone, apparently.
somewhat injured but really sick North Carolina team. Even Sean Nahas didn't sound great on the phone when we chatted with him this week.
No, he didn't, and fair play to him. He still came on the call and he showed up and gave us the information that was necessary. But I'm looking forward to seeing, Macy Bell down that left-hand side. I think we spoke to Sean Nahas about their outside backs. Both of them can't go at the same time. Feely Rauch is one of those players that will be more of a sitter. But Ryan Williams, I think, in the second half last week was exceptional. And Sean Nahas said, I said to him, this is where you get paid the big bucks. Because he said he saw the space was there and there was a moment in breaking play. He told Ryan Williams to get higher. The ball fell to her and she was able to provide like a secondary assist in that moment. And that's why what separates the good coaches from the great coaches. They see things, can make that change. And when it does work out for you, it makes you look like a genius. And fair play to Sean Nahas for recognising that.
A lot of big round numbers involved in this game. It was game 150 in the league for Denise O'Sullivan last weekend. It is Jess Fishlock's 200th game this weekend, and it is game 100 for Sean Nahas, the 45-year-old in his 4th full season at the helm. An OG, Jess Fishlock, hitting game number 200. Not the only player on the Reign roster to make that claim. Lou Barnes can similarly say she's hit the 200 plateau, and both have done it with just one team.
That's crazy.
Laura Harvey spoke to us about the foundations of the team. There's a lot of players returning. But obviously last year they lost a lot of players.
It's a lot of players that are taking breaks too now.
So they had to rebuild, and I think the leaders and the foundations they've laid down, they lost their way a little bit last year based upon losing those types of players.
LaRue.
And I think the fact that a lot of them are returning this year will yet to be determined where they're going to finish within the regular season.
Who else? I think that's the only 2 big names.
Kaylee Kurtz, 3-time Iron Woman now in the NWSL. Sanchez. O'Sullivan.
Lynn Biandello as well, Mike, has been a great addition for this Seattle
What's up,
Reign
Clem?
team. Jordan Heidemann is not available. She's available off the bench, but I think great addition from Laura Harvey to get...
Well, this is provided by the NWSL for free,
at the end of last season, and she described the
if you want to watch it yourself without me being in the camera and talking to you,
to 2014,
just
when
go
they
to
finished at the bottom, to when they won the Shield and had that unbelievable
the provided link
streak
there
a
in the
decade
description.
ago.
And get yourself in a
Can't
WSL
quite
Plus
go about
account.
it the same way. Moving players out isn't what it used to be, and for good reason on the whole, as this bounces wide of Murphy. But it does mean that while Laura Harvey knew changes need to be made, it can't be wholesale. They might not be nearly as game-changing immediately, but Biondolo is one of the players that will immediately impact the group, maybe as early as next week off a lower leg injury.
Definitely, and I think Jordan Heitman, there's always a massive responsibility on Jordan Heitman to get goals. Losing Bethany Bolster last year, midway through the season, didn't help, because coming into the season, the Seattle Reign wanted to play like a diamond box midfield in a 4-4-2 with Bolster and Jordan Heitman. And then throughout the season, I know a lot of teams have a lot of injuries within the NWSL. Throughout the season, it will happen, but they just couldn't catch a break, the Seattle Reign.
No, I think you and I went to Seattle one too many times and just thought, really? More? There's more? Hangs up for Mercado. Couldn't quite corral. Here's Shaw. Still only 20 years old. Sean Nahas saying, I've been around her orbit for a long time, so excited to get her in, but also recognizes that she's such a young player that the spotlight almost blinds you to the fact that she's just 20 years old, despite this being year 4 in the league. Here is Shaw. Manaka spins.
Just wait till.
Had options trailing off the right side. Allow
you got Moultrie and Ricketts and Thompson sisters.
The sky's the limit for her. I love watching her play.
And Barcenas.
And you're right, Mike. It's like she plays beyond her years, but I think dropping into those pockets in the 10 as well, and being able to stretch the field of play like that.
Oh, excellent. Here's Bell pushing up from the left back spot.
Offside.
And the whistle's gone. It was off, and I believe they're saying it was on the touch by Shaw. Well, I think people in North Carolina are going to be excited to pay for tickets to see this.
Yeah, that was definitely offside. Correct call from the assistant referee. But I think, yeah, Jaden Shaw, what a player she is. And I think last year in different season with the San Diego Wave was in the lineup, out of the lineup. I think
hey, Clem, the pets are doing good.
Really
thanks for asking.
Well, to kind of Emma's formidable
Appreciate you.
How to get the best out of players, especially Jaden Shaw is a special type of talent.
Yeah, we're only doing the NWSL Plus stuff on here on YouTube until we get the.
Well. But you can see here, you know, dropping in. She can drop
until we can't, or they give us permission to do the rest.
She offers so many different ways for this North Carolina coverage.
There's 2 games on Ion.
And Sean Nahas has to appreciate the opportunity to get so many technically gifted players on the field at the same time.
There's 2 games on Ion, or NWSL Plus.
From Washington, now Shaw coming in. There's going to be a lot of tricks and flicks in this team.
McNabb as well. And
in fact, I'm getting my dog food ready right now.
They're going to have so many different ways of getting to goal, and I think that's what separates the great teams in this league
but
from the average. You look at the Kansas City Current, Orlando Pride, Washington Spirit, they all have that one thing in common. They know how to get to goal. It's not just reliant upon one player, and I think the North Carolina Courage will have that in their locker this season.
Bell stayed on side. Long run for Emily Mason, the debutante for Seattle, and did catch up to it, deflects it into the grasp of Claudia Dickey. Emily Mason called into the Futures camp by Emma Hayes out of Rutgers.
She took a good angle here.
Has to go a little bit quicker here for me. Just delays it just a little bit too long. You can see Manaka was underneath. Jaden Shaw made that run as well. It just allows Madison Curry to get on the other side of the ball.
She took a good angle to it.
Mason's inclusion means 4 different players that were not a part of the Reign roster a year ago have earned their first start for the club in the first 2 games.
Eat up.
Rolled back by Serna Gorsevic. One of the mid-season acquisitions for a Seattle team that did some work over the offseason. It certainly took advantage of the summer window as well. Bug back to Dickey.
I'm expecting a little bit more from Serna Gorsevic this season. I think at times last year she captained the team, and I think we know how good she can be, coming from Barcelona previously with the Portland Thorns as well. But I think the team need a little bit more from her this season, whether that be scoring goals or whether that be getting assists or secondary assists. I just don't think she was involved enough last season.
Mason. Seattle has won just 1 of 10 games they've played in North Carolina all time. That 90% win rate for North Carolina is tied for the highest between 2 teams in one venue in NWSL history, with Orlando's failures at Portland. Shaw.
Oh, it's a foul.
Went down. Elvis Osmanovic thought about it for quite some time. They're going back to an injury, not to stop play. It's Manaka who's down. It'll be a drop ball in favor of Seattle on the restart, but all the attention goes to Manaka.
It's a difficult one for the referee because Manaka, it was a head injury, so it should have been called but then Jaden Shaw was in on goal, so it was a difficult one for the referee to really do. We can see here, gets hit in the head. The ref has to call the whistle there. It's unfortunate because Jaden Shaw is going to goal, but those are the rules. Hits in the head, she goes down. The referee has to blow the whistle now. It would have been frustrating for Sean Nahas and Jaden Shaw, but that referee should have blown that whistle in that moment.
Yep, and then North Carolina lost the ball because it was controlled by Seattle.
Well, Elvis has a reputation, if you hear Sean Nahas clearly enough. No, I actually first saw it with the New York Knicks that they did this. They put a sheet in their game notes that include the likelihood of fouls in all instances. Get to that moment. Anything for you?
I think we see them 9 times out of 10 given. In the end, I think it isn't a foul. Can understand when I first saw it, I thought it was. But I don't think it is a foul in the end.
North Carolina includes a referee's record for the Courage in games that they have officiated for the club in their game notes. I've never seen that in soccer. That's why I bring it up. I've seen it once in the NBA. And according to this, North Carolina is 6-1-1 when Elvis is performing. To be fair, they've got a great record regardless of the referee in a given game. So that may seem slanted. It's just the nature of North Carolina winning a lot more than they lose. Manaka's up. That's good news. What a player Manaka is.
Wow, didn't even call it a foul.
Koyama, the incoming Japanese international, best friends with Manaka in the under-20 national team for Japan. So that made the recruitment a little bit easier. Good to see her come on here later in the game, available on the substitute list.
That does help as well, Mike, when you go to a team and you have a person that you know. It helps if it is your best friend, but I think just to help settle into a new environment.
Did you have anyone when you first came over to the States on any of the teams that you were really familiar with?
There was a lot of players on other teams because we came over. There was about 10 of us from England that came, but not as a teammate on my team at the time. But as you know, Laurie Lindsay was my captain at the Philadelphia Independence, and the team kind of welcomed me with open arms. And I think speaking the same language, that does help. I had Karina Mariyama from Japan that was over, and it was quite difficult for her to kind of get up to the speed of play because America is so intense, and the drills are so intense when it comes to the way they play.
G lofting. Maddie Deline. Deline went for goal, steered aside by Murphy.
Good
so
save.
Maddie Deline, the 20-year-old native of Minnesota who played at North Carolina, back on former stomping grounds.
Interestingly enough,
that might have been offside, actually.
Deline is the best pressing forward that she's ever coached and ever seen. And she was pleasantly surprised by how good she is on the other side of the ball as well. And these are the type of moments that I don't think the Seattle Reign got into enough last year, into those goal-scoring moments inside the 18-yard box where they can affect the opposition's goal.
G again.
Second bite of the apple. G has played in now all 28 games since signing from Chelsea for Seattle. Every game last year, both this year.
You know how much I love G.
I do. I love how much you love G. Ball into Crnogorcevic, got cut off. And Ryan Williams circumnavigates, but the clearance is right back to the aforementioned G.
It's good positioning.
I think one of the reasons why I love Chi as well is because she does things that other players can't do. She sees the game differently. When she went back to play in South Korea, I think people thought she was going to retire there. Then she comes over to the Seattle Reign, and I thought it might take her a little while to get up to the speed of play. She was up to the speed of play straight away and was scoring bangers.
G, 3 goals last year, and I think they all were bangers. Here's Deline.
Oh!
Deline, narrowly off the mark. You mentioned how good at pressing she is. A Lynn Williams protege is the way it was described to us. Here she is on the attacking end.
Yeah, getting into those moments again on the left-hand side. Deline Kurtz does a good job getting
so
across
close
and defending that. But Laura Harvey would be really delighted that Deline's getting into those moments where she can affect the opposition's goal. If I'm being hypercritical, maybe it should be on target, but you want to see your players getting into those positions that can affect the opposition's goal. What I'm seeing from the Seattle Reign in these opening 2 games, Mike, is they're certainly pressing a lot higher than they were last year. I think at times they were too easily getting caught in transition a lot.
Seattle getting a lot of this game right now. There's
Thanks
contact in the
for
area, clean slide
whatever
tackle.
that is. Subscribe.
And it is a corner for Seattle. The Reign are giving as good as they're getting.
Yeah, they're getting into really good moments. Fantastic moments. Kurtz does a really good job again to come across. They need to capitalize on this now, the Seattle Reign. They're having a lot of the ball, causing the North Carolina Courage a lot of problems.
Deline playing the last 3 years under Sean Nahas's brother, Damon Nahas, in North Carolina. Damon, the interim last year, the assistant the 2 years prior. Ball lofted across.
Oh, all the way through.
That's too far. Shaw will track it down. That's the pressing we talk about with Deline. There was no free yardage for Shaw. And Manaka gets chopped down.
And a dangerous
Yeah,
play
foul
after.
to give away there from Jordan Bugg. Manaka was going nowhere, and they pressed really well. They swarmed the ball. And I think I'm liking what I'm seeing for the Seattle Reign. And he's opening 2 games, Mike. I said they're starting a little bit higher. I think last season at times, due to personnel, they were dropping quite deep, inviting the pressure on. But Laura Harvey will want to press. In this league, you have to press from the front. Otherwise, you'll get caught.
Game 2 of the weekend in NWSL last night in Portland. Angel City and the Thorns finished 1-1.
Year of the draw, we
You
say.
and I have a heck of a game tomorrow. Orlando and Gotham on ESPN2, and Ion's got some great games tonight as well. He's back from G.
Looking forward to that one. I think what we're seeing in the opening weekend is the teams that have come in underhand and the teams that have continued to push on. What I mean by underhand, Mike, I mean not added additional players and the quality. And you mentioned it before, sometimes players are locked into certain contracts, so they can't move players on. But I do think a lot of the teams you're seeing, Orlando Pride, Kansas City Current, Washington Spirit, they have a similar roster to last season.
Oh, good ball over the top.
Crnogorcevic. Bell sliding in now.
Oof.
Fishlock puts it wide.
Good
Clever
spin.
turn away from pressure. And now chips it ahead. She is beneath it.
Oh.
Went for it on the first time. Knocks it out of play. If she gets that right, that is one of the most spectacular, if veteran plays we've ever seen.
Yeah, I mentioned it before. She only scores bangers. It's really, look at the drop of the shoulder from Jess Fishlock. I love this. Picks out G. I think Macy Bell does a really good job at recovering on the other side of the ball. It actually looked like a corner to me, to be honest, but I think Macy Bell does a really good job recovering. Fantastic ball from Jess Fishlock.
Oh.
Thing about Jess Fishlock, Mike, is what I always say, and I say it to her all the time, you are so annoying to play against. Like, she's one of those players in the most politest way. She's everywhere. So I don't want people to get too wrapped up in the assists and the goals that she scores. It's about, her engine is unbelievable. She doesn't give you a moment on the ball. She's everywhere. She can defend, she can attack. And I think they really missed her at times last year when she was out with that injury. Leader on the team. And you don't see players staying at a club for as long as
What was that?
Jess Fishlock have stayed at the Seattle Reign. We know she's moved on to other teams as well in between, got on loan, but she's a mainstay for this team.
6-time All-League, is a member of the Reign. 2021 League MVP. Missed 8 games a year ago to that injury you mentioned, and the team really did suffer.
Team suffered for
back by
all kinds of
Crnogorcevic.
reasons last year.
And here's Jordan Bugg.
What do you want? Do you have to go outside?
But if you look at Bugg,
Ugh.
and you can say the
All
same
right,
about
Chad.
Ainsley McCammon, you can say it about Emery Adamas, who's available off
go.
the bench as well. Players like Barnes and Fishlock set the standard at a club. You cannot go beneath where those two have set it. Rapinoe was certainly part of that when she was part of the team as well before her retirement. But Laura Harvey basically has her left and her right hand on the field or next to her on the bench at all times.
Yeah, and I think we obviously focus a lot on the young players in this league, and I say it all the time, rightfully so, but you have to be better than the players that are in front of you. Age is only a number. And Jordan Bugg last season, I think she was brilliant. Emery Adamas come off the bench at times, starting in games as well. What I like about those, we spent a lot of time with Emery Adamas and Jordan Bugg, Mike, in person, and I think it's refreshing to see players that just want to learn and don't have that sense of entitlement. Jordan Bugg, I mentioned it in the pre-game, is quite quiet, quite shy. Emery just lights up a room when she walks into it, and she has that kind of fiery personality in a great way. So I think, you know, with these players, they're under Laura Harvey, they're under people like Jess Fishlock that can kind of guide them, but they also have that open-mindedness, Mike, to be guided.
Did you just describe a flashy attacking player and a no-nonsense center back?
Yeah, I'd say so. I think they're...
Rough turnover here. Sprinting at O'Sullivan, dishes wide. Manaka, what a move! And finally overtaken by James Turner. This will get out. It'll stay with North Carolina. That's a rare miscue for Seattle thus far.
Yeah, giving away the ball in those defensive third areas. I think it was a really good play in the end on the defense with Anchor and James Turner. And I said that about being the CDM in this Seattle Reign team. It's difficult to know, like, you have to set up the game for Jess Fishlock and G's to be able to go forward, but also on the other side of the ball, you can see she covered around there, Anchor and James Turner, and did well for her team.
Man, it's 20 minutes in already? Holy cow.
Outstanding crowd tonight here in North Carolina. Home opener for the Courage, one of the great home teams in NWSL year after year, and they don't even have their 12th player, so to speak. The humidity. That comes later. 21st minute, both teams off an opening draw, looking to find their first victory of the year, spend the weekend above the playoff line. I think we can look back to last year with Chicago. If you're Seattle, I'd sort of look at their trajectory. They were able to get enough points at the beginning of the year that they never fell beneath the line. Even when they had some rough moments, they end up getting in as the 8th seed. Maybe Seattle's got a higher ceiling over the course of this year, but getting off to a good start, which they did not a year ago, would allay a lot of early fears.
Yeah, and I think, I said it many times, it's like a definition of insanity. They kept, every goal that the Seattle Reign conceded was a carbon copy of the week before.
Yeah.
I mentioned it to Laura Harvey, like, it must be so difficult because there's no doubt the players are trying. No one wants to concede, but it's like, how do you then correct those mistakes when you keep getting caught literally in transition? I know it's like a word that we use a lot in the NWSL, but it was the same goal every single week. And you could see, we were at their practice, you could see exactly like they had that endeavor, that willingness, but it just wasn't working. And I think last season for the Seattle Reign, they didn't, individuals also didn't play their best. The ones that were available wasn't at their best.
Came down to Jackson. Sees Gomez making the run off the left side. That'll open things up a bit. The 19-year-old Brazilian goes 1v1. Gomez, that takes a deflection. Jackson steers it further. Launched by Fishlock.
Yeah, Sean Nahal spoke to us about the young players in the team. One 19-year-old to another. You know, I think Riley Jackson getting a goal last week will work wonders for her confidence, but I like that type of ball, being able to get towards goal in a different moment. I think we see about the North Carolina Courage, they possess the ball, but that ball from Riley Jackson in behind, I think, can turn the Seattle Reign team quite well.
Bunch of forks. My dog food.
This time the run is Bell out of the back. So a completely different look down the left side. Mason covering. Gomez is behind. Well done by Riley Jackson. Kurtz switching the point. Sanchez leading. Manaka had Shaw front running with Gomez there as well. Out for a goal kick.
Good position for Manaka to get into. I think a player of her quality, you'd expect a little bit more. I'm not quite sure. She looked like she was trying to pick out Shaw in this moment. Quite an underwhelming ball in the end, but they're getting into good moments. And Sean Nahal will be really delighted. Manaka down the right, players in the box.
Gee, come on. Crnogorcevic Lays this across. Had to lean, charging at the back post and defended over the line. Corner.
Brilliant ball from G. So Nagorcevic here, I'd like her to take her first touch inside. I don't think she has in her mind to go towards goal. It's not a bad ball in the end, but I think she has to go towards goal there. Decent ball, good defending in the end from Williams.
Ryan Williams was about 5 yards behind Deline. Was able to get out in front, knock that aside. So a corner here for Seattle, 25 minutes in.
I just think I'd like to see Nagorcevic go towards goal in that moment, Mike. You know, touch out your feet, be selfish, be ruthless in front of goal. I can understand why she was trying to play it across to Darlene.
Let's see what she's got in her fish locker. Fish lock. Skims off the head of Mason, who committed the foul with the push. I gotta tell you, North Carolina last week, third most possession in club history, seventh best possession in league history, 68%. They've outpossessed their opponents in 57 straight games. Seattle doesn't look like they're underwater here. They're having a great performance here on the road, and just shy, right, of the number, but they're right there. Down into the corner, Sanchez. Ooh, careful.
I liked what Sean Nahas said, though, when we spoke to him about individual players and what they needed. He said, my eyes don't lie. He said he's not a real big XG person, a stats-based person, but that stat is quite incredible, isn't it?
Yeah.
All that really matters, he won't care about that. He wants to win games. So the fact that they possess the team, okay, that's a great thing. We know they possess the ball, but it's about winning games. And I like that from Sean Nahas, saying his eyes don't lie when he sees a player, when he wants a player, and he wants them in his team.
Comes back to O'Sullivan. And Ryan Williams will circulate to Murphy. North Carolina won't be home again for a little while, not till after the international break. April 19th against the Bay team that snuck into the playoffs at the end of last year with a great run. They go to Portland, then Gotham in the interval. So trying to make the best of getting this home game here in week 2. G. Knocked away on Curry's return. Bit short of Shaw, but able to turn and whip this upfield. It's a hair too far. The idea was brilliant.
Yeah, you can see what Jaden Shaw was trying to do there. I was talking about her being able to drop deep, to play that ball into Ryan Williams. It was not the best execution, but I like that from Jaden Shaw, getting into those pockets. When a number 9 or a number 10 drops in between the lines, it's difficult for the centre-backs to know who to take, for the midfield to know who to take. Look at the pockets that she's occupying there, Jaden Shaw. If that ball gets turned over, she's going to goal.
And when you say a 9 or a 10 dropping in, so you get the midfield overload of having your center forward come off that line. What you might lose is the expansive nature of having them press between the center backs, something that Bedford came in and did well for them last week. But it totally fits Shaw's profile to be able to drop in and play interchange football with them.
It does, and that's when Ashley Sanchez.
Excellent ball over the top to Mercado, although it stretches, and Murphy has to deal with it.
Ashley Sanchez or Monaco will then have to read that and make that run. I used to love it, Mike. When I played in that position, the same as Jaden Shaw, I used to love it when the centre-backs are arguing with each other. They're arguing in the midfield. Who's picking her up? Why are you not picking her up? And it's difficult. We see number 10s dropping in between the lines a lot, and I used to love it. I'm thinking, no one's picking me up.
We're out here looking for home-wrecking center forwards. I love it.
Wrecking center forwards.
Exactly what I'm talking about. It's a nightmare when a 10
write that one down.
Absolutely. Here is Manaka, works the give and go with Sanchez. Sanchez head up, ball across, and right before it got to Shaw, it got flicked out of play. And North Carolina starting to counterpunch.
Well played for the North Carolina Courage. This is really good play from Ashley Sanchez down the right. I love the little give and go with Manaka. I think this run from Jaden Shaw, I think we've seen a couple of balls now where they're trying to hit Jaden Shaw on the front post. And I think they have to look for the secondary ball. There's players underneath that are also making that run, because sometimes Jaden Shaw is the decoy.
Great job by McClernand to play it out. Corner for Shaw. It's Deline who's guarding the front stick. Shaw knocks it down, was trying to combine with Berkeley. And Seattle carries ahead. North Carolina, one of the few teams in the league that can say they have not just a winning record, a dominant record against Seattle. 10 wins, 4 losses, 3 draws all time against the Reign.
That's pretty good, huh?
One set of game notes says 11 wins. I want to know where this phantom victory came from.
Playoffs.
Half an hour complete. Now Seattle onto the front foot. Crnogorcevic there centrally with Mercado. Bounces back toward Fishlock. And there's Gomes. Ball stabbed away. Excellent by Mason.
Oh, good.
But
Good
the
catch.
through, snared by Murphy.
Gomes got very fortunate there because you cannot be turning over the ball in your 18-yard box. Wasn't the greatest of balls into the box. I think when we look at this opening 30 minutes, Mike, I think it's been a pretty evenly matched game. It's hard to say where this game's going to go because both teams are pressing. There's not really a spare player on the field to play. There's not really much space for people to be able to get on the ball. And I think when you look at the possession, it's pretty evenly matched. Hasn't been many goal-scoring opportunities, but then when they have got in those areas, we've seen Darlene getting a couple of those moments. We've seen Jaden Shaw go into the attacking zone as well. But I think right now it's been a pretty evenly matched game.
Bell circles back. Was the only rookie on the roster for Gotham last year, which that's a lonely road. So often just having someone to commiserate with makes all the difference. And yet when we spoke a bit with Sean Nahas, he made it more a generality of rookies. Your job is to come in and learn. Mal Pugh at the time wasn't starting right off the bat. You can say that about a lot of big world football names. And Bell took that time to learn on the Gotham bench before coming down to North Carolina midseason. Sanchez somehow withstood the challenge.
Let's go, Sanchez.
Drives into the area, knocks it back. Came off of James Turner, lobbed back in, and now G sends it away.
I think Angara James Turner is doing a lot of really good work defensively. I highlighted her pre-game saying her role and responsibility this season. Coming to the team last year was indifferent, didn't really get much playing time. Beginning of the year did, but I think she's been excellent in this opening 30 minutes. I think sometimes those central defensive midfielders, they kind of like play that unforgiving role where it's not easy on the eye, but they're positionally, she's done really well.
Ball ahead toward Manaka. Out to the halfway line. Kurtz will backstop. James Turner starting 12 games a year ago. They're entering the club from Tottenham. Before that was at Orlando. And had a stint in North Carolina. Ball held by Dickey. Quick distribution from a Seattle team that on this temperate 68-degree night, they're poised to go stride for stride with North Carolina on the road.
And just to piggyback on that point you made moments ago, Mike, about the young players coming into the league and Sean Nahas talking about earning the right, I think that's something to be said about a lot of players. When you're coming from a college team or you're coming from another team where you've been the best player on that team, when you come to the NWSL, that might not be the case. And I've played with players where they come and they think, oh, I've come from college, I'm the best player on the team, I should be playing. I came from a different place when I came to this league. I was like, I might have won the Champions League and done a lot, but I've got a lot to learn. And I'm going to learn from these players. And every time someone would call for the ball, when, for example, Laurie Lindsay, we joke about it now, she'd call for the ball, I just give it to her. Because I had that level of respect, an older player, someone I respected. And then you kind of find your way. But I think, you know, a lot of the younger players in this league can learn a lot from just being on a roster, and I think sometimes it's hard pill to swallow when you've gone from being that star player in a college team.
Yeah.
L started 3 games for Gotham, none for North Carolina after arriving in August. Gets that first call to start here today with Feely Rauch unavailable due to illness, beg your pardon. Did say you got to beat out one of that back four to have a chance to play, or you need to be ready when the opportunity arises, and it arose tonight for Macy Bell.
The Discord's loving it right now.
Crnogorcevic slung inside. Fishlock!
Go!
I spoke previously about don't just judge Jess Fishlock on her goals and assists, but that's exactly what she can do, that third player run. This all starts from a really good ball out the back from Jordan Bug. And Jess Fishlock actually starts the motion. It's a really good little flick down the line for Turner Gorsevic. Great run inside as well. And that's such a good finish from Jess Fishlock. I like this from Ricardo, picks Jess Fishlock out. What a finish that is. As soon as she prepares the shot to take the touch, great strike. Murphy's got no chance in that moment. And she deserves that. What a player she is, and it's a great finish from Jess Fishlock.
A great goal.
What a way to celebrate number 200. You talked to Laura Harvey about Jess Fishlock. That's the player that you fold up a piece of paper with all your tactical changes and you send it out to Jess. And she'll command the troops. She'll get everyone in line. She'll explain what needs to be done.
I'm in a loud environment. Apparently I'm loud when I yell goal, huh? Sorry, Watt.
Shaw. Shaw slides.
Penalty? Oh, no.
Shaw's whistled for the foul going into the back of Jordan Bug. And nearly an immediate response.
See, this is what I was talking about before, Mike, about them trying to find Jaden Shaw.
Ooh.
Gomes is underneath in that 77 spot. Look, on the penalty spot, that has to be the ball for me. I understand why Jaden Shaw, I don't really think that's a foul. There's not much in that. Actually, Sanchez is trying to find Jaden Shaw, but I actually think the spare player is Gomes underneath.
Sanchido.
Turner Gorsevic. G.
Another thing I think Seattle Reign are doing really well, they're splitting. Like you can see G popped out to the right-hand side, Mercado dropped in. Angry James Turner is the player that's in there that's having to be a bit more disciplined just in between the lines, in front of the back line, but you can see how interchangeable they are. Mason splitting out on this right-hand side, and that's where the goal came from. Jordan Ball played a fantastic ball out to Mason. They split the North Carolina Courage, and they're getting a lot of space in the wide areas, Mike, and I think Laura Harvey will be looking for them to capitalize that on that before the second half.
I don't really have a winner in this game.
Clanks over to Gomes.
I just want
43rd regular season goal.
Sanchez
for
play
Jess
well.
Fishlock.
Manaka to play well.
Joins another great on the other side of the Cascadia rivalry, Christine Sinclair, and having scored in game number 200. Second all-time now for the Reign, behind Megan Rapinoe's 51, and tied with Carly Lloyd for 12th in NWSL history.
Wow.
Not bad company.
No, but I know you know who texted me all that in a 12-second span. The goated Jen Cooper. Whistle blows here. That's a push from Berkeley. If you're North Carolina, okay, scoreline, but the overarching game, are you satisfied with the way this is played out on the whole, or where do you think Sean Nahas, who's studying the field diligently at the moment, is thinking at this juncture?
I think, you know, Sean Nahas is formidable for making substitutions that make a difference. Last season, he made 3 players that came into the game. They all had an impact on the opposition's goals, so he's not scared to make those decisions. I think when you look at this first half, Ashley Sanchez has had a lot of the ball down the right-hand side, making something out of nothing in Jaden Shaw. But other than that, I think we could see Hannah Betfall come into the game, because I think, you know, offers a different way of getting towards goal. Denise O'Sullivan's on the ball now, but hasn't really had much of joy. But I think that's due to the Seattle Reign's press. I think they've been relentless, and they're getting numbers around the ball. They look really disciplined, the Seattle Reign, when they're out of possession. And that's something that will really excite Laura Harvey.
They're definitely playing better than they did last year.
Nearly through for Sanchez. Back to O'Sullivan. And this will find Berkeley. Twice the ACC Defender of the Year at Florida State.
Sanchez.
Sanchez lost it to the line.
Shouldn't have said her name. It's that Quantum. I forget what I was going to say. Sorry.
There's Claudia Dickey, was a women's basketball full scholarship recipient at the University of North Carolina. Of course, March Madness ongoing. The first time Anson Dorrance actually saw her play live in a game, it wasn't soccer, it was basketball. Had seen a lot of tape, but saw her playing basketball. The Tar Heels basketball team off to a good start in the NCAA tournament. There's Hansen, the winningest coach in college soccer history, and recently retired with the North Carolina job, one of the most sought after in the country, going to Sean Nahas's brother, Damon, who did a phenomenal job leading the Tar Heels back to the national championship for the first time in about a decade. And Dickey, remarkable distribution, which Hansen always said had a little bit of basketball flair in it. And certainly a great shot stopper. You know that Laura Harvey feels very confident with Dickey back there.
Yeah, definitely. And I think there was moments last season that she was out of the team due to injury. And Laura Harvey speaks about how many different sports that Claudia Dickey can play. And I think that's what sets her apart in her distribution. I think you're right in saying that.
She was a youth baseball pitcher and shortstop as well. By the way, North Carolina women's basketball, a 3 seed, knocked out 14 seed Oregon State in the opening round of the NCAA tournament.
Seattle Reign have brought in Cassie Miller this year as well to kind of provide a, I wouldn't say necessarily, competition for Claudia Dickey, but there were moments last year when she was out of the team due to injury, and it was quite difficult for the Seattle Reign.
To be fair, Dickey was splitting time half by half at UNC, so it's not like she doesn't know how to jump in and step out of a lineup without concern.
I remember when I first played against UNC when I was playing for the Philadelphia Independents, and they made like a player, and I was like, what is going on? After every 20 minutes, it was like 9 players, substitutions coming in, and I was like, welcome to America, Leanne.
Remember,
it was a pre-season game, so they could make unlimited.
Well, in college, it's not quite unlimited, but you can similarly, if you want to do a line change, do a line change. And when you talk to North Carolina, historically, their idea was, if you give me your absolute full intensity for 20 minutes, that may be a better way of describing the pro game and preparing you for it than you knowing how to go the full 90. It was just a different approach, and it certainly served them very well.
It made me fitter, Mike, to say the least.
Gave me neck problems. Side to side.
Still 0-0 in Washington. I should have went to that game today.
Here for Seattle. Jumped on with Laura Harvey this week, and the first question I asked was about getting some goals in the team. They only scored 27 in 26 games last year. She said, honestly, I'm less disappointed about the offense than the number of goals that we conceded. You referenced earlier, it was the way a lot of those were conceded. Felt like Groundhog Day on a pretty consistent basis, but statistically, they're actually mid-table in expected goals allowed. In some ways, they were rather unfortunate as Seattle forward again here. For the first time in 11 games in North Carolina, they've scored the opening goal. It's not just that they've only won 1 of their 10 meetings here, it's that usually they never even have the lead here. Here's Shaw.
See, this
back in their defending third, though.
House will not be wanting Jaden Shaw to be having to drop that deep to be able to get on the ball. That is not her role and responsibility. I understand why she's dropping deep, because that's what you do when you're frustrated not getting the ball. She wants to get on the ball. She's one of their best players, but I think that's not something Shawn Nahas will want to happen. It's up to Denise O'Sullivan to be able to drop in deeper, Manaka to drop in deeper to be able to get on the ball, to provide that service for Ashley Sanchez to be able to get on the end of something on that right-hand side. I think a lot of the North Carolina Courage's joy has come down the right. Some of the balls have been a bit overhit, but Ashley Sanchez has had a lot of the ball, made good decisions, sometimes could have made a better decision, but I think she's looked their most dangerous player on the attack.
Dickey going vertical. Manaka knocks it down.
Good ball.
Through by Sanchez. Manaka maybe had another step or two, but there was support closing her down.
Yeah, Monaco took that far too early for me, Mike. It's really good play again from Ashley Sanchez, who I previously highlighted. Monaco takes the responsibility, but I think Jordan Bugg does a really good job covering over, McClernand recovering as well, but I think Monaco can take that one more touch down the side. Then she could have gone to goal and maybe, you know, squared it to Jaden Shaw, who was across the goal.
She didn't get enough power on it either.
Approaching halftime. Seattle trying to take the lead into the break. Knocked down by James Turner. Mikado helps to keep it.
The fourth official has indicated there will be 3 minutes.
3 more minutes at the end of the first half.
Where did we get? Oh, good touch.
Gomes. That is a lot of white jerseys around her. Picks out Shaw. Jaden Shaw. Dickey
Good save. Good
gets
save.
down to make the save.
I think it's always going to be comfortable for Claudia Dickey. Gomes does really well. Nice weighted pass. Jenny Shaw just gets on the end of it. The angle was quite acute to be able to go fully across goal. McClernand does well to recover. That's where you want Jaden Shaw to be, in the 18-yard box, getting shots off. But the angle was quite acute for her to be able to kind of get it on in the back of the net.
Serna Gorcevic trying to stiff arm Macy Bell. Bell eventually gets a foot in.
Got a good crowd on hand there in Cary, North Carolina. That is a small stadium, though. But still pretty good crowd. The upper deck's not full. I wonder how many that
Bug.
seats.
McClernand. Riley Jackson. O'Sullivan. G in pursuit.
Seattle Reign Mike are doing a
10,000.
really, really good job at pressing. Denise O'Sullivan is not getting a moment to breathe on the ball. G's doing well. Jess Fishlock, Angara James Turner, who we spoke about pre-game, being able to provide that kind of in front of the back line. But I think their positional discipline, the Seattle Reign, has been exceptional.
Laura Harvey and the Reign fell 1-0 here last year. She described frustration, anger, heartbreak to fall the way they did. Here's Shaw. McClernand went in. Nothing to it.
Yeah, there's nothing in this for me. You're not going to get a penalty for that.
Ooh.
And she does get clipped on that ankle, but after the ball's headed out over the line, I can understand where Shaw's coming from saying, do you see the mark?
Her shoe was off.
Yeah, but I think if we're giving penalties for that, Mike, I don't think anybody wants to see penalties being given for that type of thing.
I agree.
They'll take a look at it through VAR. Kevin Broadley is the one helping Elvis Osmanovic from the room. And even if that touch is enough that you at least want to give the referee a chance to look at it, that could be the discussion point. If they do look, they won't.
Thank you. I'm glad that wasn't given, because that would have been, we don't want to see stuff like that given, Mike. I understand the rules are the rules, but I understand looking at it, because that's what VAR is there for.
There is the halftime whistle. Seattle, for the first time in North Carolina, get the opening goal, and it's Fishlock's first since October of 2023.
Wow.
Appearance 200, And right on the score sheet, 1-0.
Yeah, I think deservedly so. I think the Seattle Reign have been really good defensively. I spoke about Jess Fishlock. You know, don't only judge her by her goals and her assists, but she's getting into those third player runs. It was a brilliant finish, but I think that player there as well, Angrid James Turner, I was quite critical of her last season. I don't think we saw enough of her when she was playing, but I think she's been brilliant. G's been excellent defensively as well. And I think Laura Harvey will be really delighted with how her team is set up. On the other side, Sean Nahas will be happy that Ashley Sanchez is getting a lot of the ball down the right, but we know he's thinking. You know, we know Sean Nahas will make a substitution if he needs to, and I'd expect Hannah Betford maybe at half-time or potentially to come on at some point soon.
And so Seattle with the opening goal, and of course it's Jess Fishlock on a big occasion with the tally. Joins us from the field now. It's Mike and Leanne in the booth. Jess, congrats on the goal. Thoughts on how that first half played out for you guys?
Yeah, I think it was a good first half. We know that they like to play and they like to play short, so we got to try and get a high press on. And high press is always risk versus reward, and so there's been a few times where we could have hurt them, be a little bit more ruthless. But obviously on the other side, when they do break that first line, we've got to really clean up the second line so they don't get through to our penalty box.
And Jess, talk me through your goal. You know, I've been quite, you know, talking about how well you guys have done defensively, but you've been able to have the license to get in those areas. Like, what a finish this was.
Yeah, it was, you know, nice link-up play, really nice goal, really well worked. And then thankfully my little legs got on the ends of it in the box, and so I was grateful for that.
And congrats on game 200. 200 more?
Oh, no.
Thanks, Jess.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.
We can dream about the only thing that could take the smile off that guy's face is her, and the Reign coming in and stealing the opening goal. Fishlock with the opening tally in the 35th. We'll look back at highlights and so much more next on NWSL Plus.
The NWSL is the most competitive league in the world.
You're watching Avengers Assemble.
I channel my inner Dennis Rodman on the field.
Oh man, the league has grown and it's awesome to see.
NWSL is changing. Almost an entire generation is leaving just as the game is beginning to soar.
I'll leave everything on the field, but I want this title.
With a family like that to take care
Still
of.
0-0, 31st minute, Washington.
At
KC.
WakeMed Urgent Care, we're everywhere you are. So getting the care they need when they need it couldn't be more convenient. Soccer star? Easy. Kids? Covered. The twins? Done. Aches and pains? Virtual urgent care to the rescue. So download the WakeMed All Access app today and take care of everyone in the family, including the two of you.
What do you think so far, chat?
Grab me one too.
One of you is a Maximilian winner, and the evidence is everywhere. A crisp custom suit, a new stack of diamonds.
It's Jeeves. He drove here in a new convertible.
But there are 25 prizes of $1 million. It could be all of us.
I'll be taking this for evidence.
New Maximilian scratch-offs, packed to the max with
Just stole
We
someone's
live for the NWSL on ESPN. Facts for the
lottery
twin
ticket.
spins and the silk shrugs. For Double B, the MVP, and the GOAT. For fandom so fierce you can feel it. Because this is more than a league, it's a lifestyle. And we are here for it, all of it, all the time. If you are too, you know where to find us. Gotham FC. Pride. Sunday, 5 p.m. on ESPN2.
Awesome crowd tonight here in North Carolina. The Courage and the Rain tussling in week 2. And the Rain, a goal to the good.
She's got a cape.
Break. Come back in, everyone, with Leanne Sanderson, Mike Watts. What do you take away from that first half? Seattle was up for it.
Yeah, they were brilliant. I think defensively, their press was so good. North Carolina Courage couldn't really get out and navigate. Denise O'Sullivan didn't get on the ball a lot, but that was due to the fact Seattle Rain was so good. Jess Fishlock gets a goal, that third player run. But I think Laura Harvey will be delighted with how her team has played that first half. I'm seeing a different Seattle Rain in these first opening 2 games than I saw last year. And sometimes, Mike, teams need a reset. Sometimes the off-season can't come quick enough for some teams, and some teams are still in their moment of where they want to continue.
Well, this Rain team's certainly up for the challenge, but this is not the only big game of the weekend. Yesterday, Portland and Angel City finished 1 goal apiece. Ion doubleheader has already kicked off. Washington and KC, certainly that's a game that'll cause you to drool a little bit, and then later Bay Racing is one that catches my eye.
Yeah, some big games this weekend, you know, the top 4 playing against each other. I'm looking forward to that one tomorrow, the Gotham FC game, the Orlando Pride. I think they're
Let's
the type
go,
of teams
Gotham.
you want to see playing against each other. Juan Carlos Amorós will enjoy this. They beat them in the fixture last year at the Red Bull Arena. And Barbara Banda just started how she finished off last season, 6-0 in this first game. And the Orlando Pride, they have so many different ways, Mike, and they've done them a lot of times this season of getting to goal.
Orlando kept 92% of the minutes on their roster. Really only Adriana out. They start with that huge 6-0 win over Chicago, a quarterfinal rematch. And then as it pertains to Gotham coming off that 1-1 draw away to Seattle a week ago, we'll try and do better this time around. Welcome, Jaden. Game 1 for Jaden Shaw here in Courage Country. North Carolina's got some work to do. They trail Seattle 1-0 at the half. We'll show you how it happened when we come back here on NWSL Plus.
With a focus on seeking the best investment opportunities across global markets,
Big
Palmer Square
save.
now has more than $34 billion in assets. Now, Palmer Square's expertise is available to a broader range of investors with the launch of 2 publicly traded ETFs and a publicly traded BDC. With options available on the New York Stock Exchange, investors can access Palmer Square's opportunistic strategies, as well as the firm's
Keep us
long
down.
track record of investment management. To learn more about investment options, visit palmersquarecap.com.
Swinger breaks free. The shot!
KC Current takes on the Utah Royals. Then the Portland Thorns battle the Courage.
Sanchez fires it.
Coverage begins next Saturday at 7 p.m.
Ion.
It's on. Watch this.
That's so loud.
Watch us move. Watch us fly. Watch us break. Watch us burn. Watch us rise. Watch us rule. Just you watch.
She knows. She knows. And I know she knows.
Mm-hmm.
We live
Okay,
for the
cool,
NWSL
says
on
Leanne.
ESPN. Facts
Dr. Mike
for
Live.
the Trin Spins and the Silk Shrugs. For Double B, the MVP, and the GOAT. For fandom so fierce you can feel it. Because this is more than a league. It's a lifestyle. And we are here for it. All of it. All the time. If you are too, you know where to find us. Gotham FC. Pride. Sunday, 5 p.m. on ESPN2.
Healing is happening right now, down the street and around the corner. Because for 140 years, Multicare has been in Washington State. Investing in care beyond hospital walls, growing local programs, and expanding healthcare access to those who need it most. Multicare, because healthy communities need more than healthcare.
Back in Cary, North Carolina, where Seattle Reign are off to a tremendous start. We're at the intermission. Reign over the Courage, 1-0. Mike Watts, Leanne Sanderson. Let's get you caught up on what you may have missed in that opening 45. Two teams throwing some early haymakers out here.
Yeah, Maddie Delaney is getting into these really good spots. She's done a really good job at pressing the ball as well. She's getting into these moments where, you know, being hypercritical, you want to get that on frame, but I think she's caused a lot of problems. We know how high she presses. We know she's good on the other side of the ball. And then we can see here, she plays a great ball out wide to Sena Gorcevic. She tries to play across goal. I said Sena Gorcevic, I thought we should have gone towards goal, but I understand why she's trying to find Delaney. And then Ashley Sanchez, I think, has been probably North Carolina Courage's best player, and I say that in this game because she's caused a lot of problems. If I'm being hypercritical again, I think Gomes has to be that ball there. I know they're trying to play Jaden Shaw, and I understand why. Getting into those moments, and then this is the goal. I love this play. Lovely little touch from Sena Gorcevic. Down the end line to Mercado. Picks Jess Fishlock out. Touch up. Great finish from Jess Fishlock on her 200th game. She deserves that.
Now 12th in league history in regular season goals. And Mark's appearance 200 with the 35th minute. Go ahead. Possession is even.
I said it was evenly matched, Mike. I didn't realize it was 50-50, but I said it was hard to see where this game was going to go, and I think the Seattle Reign are up, not just because of the fantastic goal from Jess Fishlock, but I think it's been their press. So I'm interested to see how the second half starts, so we can see kind of where both teams are going. So I think it's been pretty evenly matched, and the possession doesn't lie within that.
A long way to go here as Seattle and North Carolina tussling here in week 2. A tight one through 45 minutes. Got the second half coming up next on NWSL Plus.
Swinger breaks free. The shot!
KC Current takes on the Utah Royals. Then the Portland Thorns battle the Courage.
Sanchez fires it.
Coverage begins next Saturday at 7 p.m.
Ion, it's on. One of you is a Maximilian winner. And the evidence is everywhere. A crisp custom suit? A new stack of diamonds.
It's Jeeves. He drove here in a new convertible.
But there are 25 prizes of $1 million. It could be all of us.
I'll be taking this for evidence.
New Maximilian scratch-offs, packed to the max with millionaires.
We live for the NWSL on ESPN. Facts for the trend spins and the silk shrugs. For Double B, the MVP, and the GOAT. For fandom so fierce you can feel it. Because this is more than a league. It's a lifestyle. And we are here for it. All of it. All the time. If you are too, you know where to find us. Gotham FC. Pride. Sunday, 5 p.m. on ESPN2.
With a family like that to take care of, the two of you have your hands full. At WakeMed Urgent Care, we're everywhere you are. So getting the care they need when they need it couldn't be more convenient. Soccer star? Easy. Kids? Covered. The twins? Done. Aches and pains? Virtual urgent care to the rescue. So download the WakeMed All Access app today and take care of everyone in the family, including the two of you.
Grab me one too.
Watch this. Watch us move. Watch us fly. Watch us break. Watch us burn. Watch us rise. Watch us rule. Just you watch.
Jess Fishlock in the 35th minute of play has now scored in 11 distinct NWSL regular seasons. Joins Christine Sinclair, the only players to ever do that. Fishlock and the Reign ahead of North Carolina at halftime, 1-0. No changes at the intermission, and with Leanne, Mike Watts. Here we go for the second half at the newly minted First Horizon Stadium in Cary. Still part of WakeMed Soccer Park. I feel that's important to say. There's about a dozen perfectly manicured fields around this. But the stadium itself has a new name.
A dozen, huh?
Which feels like pretty commonplace this year.
Good
this
touch.
Offseason. A lot of new names.
Oh, Sanchez.
Ball lobbed across and caught by Dickey.
Wow, what a late whistle.
Challenge at the end. Bring this back after Sanchez got whacked.
Great touch. Great touch from Monaco.
Oh, I don't think she got whacked.
It is a foul, to be honest, from Curry. I'm surprised.
Dude, I need another replay. That did not look like they touched her.
Giving the foul after the ball's been played. I don't even think Ashley Sanchez was appealing for it, to be honest. It's great position.
I don't think she was touched.
To put a ball into that danger zone.
Crashed on the ground hard enough. I'm not sure she was worried about anything but getting her bearings back. So a free kick for North Carolina right out of the locker room. And Riley Jackson stands over the ball. Jackson signed in 2023, season-ending injury. Last year, a real transition year. Jackson playing early. And to that front post. O'Sullivan, who was clamped down upon in the first half, through for Shaw. Oh, wow, Shaw, what a move. Shaw plays across and sent away. Emily Mason just found out what Jaden Shaw brings to the table.
What a...
And circulates all the way down.
What a touch. All right. Sorry, chat. I'm done with the snack.
Love that type of creativity and skill and trickery from Jaden Shaw. That's exactly what Shaw Nahas will want her to be getting into those moments.
And played in over the top for Shaw.
Oh.
She got clipped from behind and probably feels like she can't catch a break. Legs came together with Jordan Bugg. It's a goal kick.
I think that's the right call. This.
Love that from Jaden Shaw. Gets the ball into the box as well.
Great defense there, actually. Top tier.
You see how Reign are getting a lot of numbers around the ball, Mike. We saw that in the first half as well, and I think that's what set them apart in this matchup. I think it'll be hard for them to maintain that press the entire 90 minutes, but have to wait and see. But they've been so disciplined defensively, getting the players in and around the ball, not giving the North Carolina coverage any moments on the ball. Denise O'Sullivan in the first half didn't have any opportunities to be able to get on the ball at all. So Laura Harvey will be delighted with that.
Back through Murphy. North Carolina's first home game of the year. They had a 21-game unbeaten home record in the regular season up into their finale against Washington last year. They have only ever lost multiple games in a row at home once since moving from Western New York, which is unreal to think about.
That's when I played for the team.
Right, well.
How long ago it was, the Western New York Flash.
Please be kind to yourself. Come on.
No, I know I still look young.
You look way younger than me.
Don't think that's hard.
We were asking, is it a mentality thing? And Sean Nahas, we spoke a bit about how data can't be the only thing that draws your eyes. Like Hannah Bedford coming in said, that's an eye test as much as it is any underlying data. But we were asking about home versus road form for North Carolina and said, all the data says we run more, we do more when we play at home. And they've tried a number of things to try and emulate their home form on the road. Delaney got shoved down by O'Sullivan.
He also spoke true to the fact they've had like 40 players through the door since he took over. Like that just says it itself. But I think the North Carolina Courage are that team that they do go under the radar quite often because they might not always be easy on the eye, but they're really well organized. What I like about Sean Nahas is he's not scared to make decisions in game that will impact the game. It might not be something that other people are seeing, but he will do that.
One of the great tactical minds of our game. G launching. That was somewhere in between for Murphy. And Crnogorcevic got there first, but could not direct it down.
Great ball in from G. Crnogorcevic actually makes a really good run. It was just a bit too far past the front post. She catches it almost too well. Really good ball in from G.
Well, she didn't get under it. They're on top of it.
Yeah, that thumbs up. Picture worth 1,000 words. Sanchez trying to work off of Ryan Williams. You mentioned the 40 players. Williams and Kurtz have been here not as long as anybody, including Murphy, who came about 6 years ago from Seattle. And O'Sullivan in midfield, but they've really only started the last 3 years. O'Sullivan, part of those great Courage teams of 2017, 18, 19.
Good ball.
Forked ahead. Williams tracks it down, but a little slow to collect with Maddie Deline providing pressure.
Yeah, Williams is kind of insinuating nobody told her, but I think we saw the press from Deline in the first half. I'm not sure why Williams was surprised that she was breathing down her neck.
Deline won state titles in high school in the 100, 200, and 400 meter dash. Gives you an idea of her athleticism. Deline stepping in, Shaw able to protect. I feel like if I were going against Maddie Deline right now, I'd be checking both shoulders multiple times every time I was turned the other way.
Yeah, and I can see what Laura Harvey was talking about, saying that she's one of the best players she's seen in the press. But what I like about Deline is that she actually makes good decisions. I think at times when there's a lot of players that have athleticism, they don't have the ability to be able to be good on the ball. It's almost like they're so quick and they get into positions. But I think she's been really active and effective in this game.
Was essentially the super sub on the under-20 World Cup team last year. Spent 3 years at North Carolina, only scored
what a back heel.
But Damon Nahas telling me last year, I think she may have drawn 6 or 7 penalties in her junior year.
But that's what you want from your forward players. You want them to get into the 18-yard box where you can really impact, because we saw moments ago she picked up the ball. She's not afraid to get at players. She's not afraid to get into the 18-yard box where it can draw a foul, draw a penalty, and make something happen.
Too much.
Curry hangs across beyond Crnogorcevic. There is Damon Nahas, national championship head coach at North Carolina, and the way the team responded was the interim all year. It was sort of hanging out there. The Dorrance era ended so close to the season that Damon the logical choice, and there are so many UNC alums that have had great success, but Damon was always a logical successor. He earned the national championship, was told at the site, as this is Deline. Deline went for goal, steered aside by Murphy. Was told with Deline on the roster, no less, and on the field, standing next to Nahas, you are the next coach for the University of North Carolina. Here's Deline's chance.
Yeah, look at Deline coming in from that left-hand side. It looks like it's only a matter of time, really. It's a decent save. It's always a decent height for the keeper, but that's exactly what Laura Harvey will want. Deline coming in from that left.
It was quick, though.
Getting shots off, making something happen.
She has been extraordinary in a very short amount of time in her first NWSL season. Corner ripped in, knocked down toward G, steered aside, comes high, sent sailing off target.
I actually thought that was a foul on Angara James Turner. You can see she's saying to the referee, what part of the ball did the player get? Really good ball in from Jess Fishlock. They're so difficult to defend, the flat ones that are put in. It's hard to see from that angle because Crnogorcevic is blocking. Again, it would have been a soft one, but the contact was there.
And it was inside the penalty area, so if they wanted to have a look, they could.
Yeah, buddy, that's all your hair.
Looks like Elvis and Anharad have a difference of opinions here. Jackson. Berkeley.
You need a bath.
Now Murphy.
You need a bath, bad.
Is she the future of the U.S. national team goalkeeping position, Murphy? At the age of 28, if you do the math out, the way Alyssa Nair ran up to 36 with the senior national team, if she's able to win that job, could be a part of two overarching cycles, so to speak. That being the World Cup followed by the Olympics, then that break, and then going through that cycle again.
Big job, big shoes to fill. I have a feeling there'll be some other goalkeepers that will be looking to take that spot as well.
Fishlock coming after it. That gets sent away. There's never been a dearth of talent in the goalkeeping pool. Whoa!
Whoa! Go!
What a goal from Jordan Bugg. I cannot believe my eyes. That's probably one of the best goals I've ever seen in the NWSL, playing or commentating. It is such a great strike. Doesn't really have any backlift on it. She looks shocked herself. Look at this preparation touch. What a strike. My goodness. Look at this from Jordan Bugg. We spoke about her pre-game defensive display.
Well, I think knuckled.
See a better goal than that. I haven't seen one in a long time. Catches that so well. What a goal.
It's a Bug's life. First NWSL goal, and it is unforgettable. 56th minute, and Jordan Bugg opens her account with what many would consider to be the goal of their career. Wow. And now Deline looking for more. Deline above the bar. And now North Carolina is up against the ropes.
It goes to show you what can happen in the NWSL. 1 minute we're talking about the potential Casey Murphy national team goalkeeper, and then just gets beat by a worldie. And Deline again down this left-hand side, does excellent, comes inside. I still can't get over that goal from Jordan Bugg. I really can't. What a strike that
Gemma,
was.
you need a bath.
A lot later.
You got dandruff everywhere.
I'm sure she will as well.
Big guy. Holy cow.
I spoke to Laura about this last year. I think we were together in this moment about Jordan Bugg. Laura Harvey coached Naomi Girma with the U.S. Youth National Team in between Utah and Seattle. Here's another look at the goal.
I mean, look at that.
That thing knuckled hard. Right inside the post. Holy cow.
To get the preparation touch, and as a footballer, when you catch the ball like that, you know when it leaves your foot, it is going in, and it is the best feeling in the world. And for Jordan Bugg, she's not known for her goal-scoring prowess, but look, that strike is just incredible. And you know my standards of players and goals are really, really high, Mike, but I think, you know, there will be easily people will draw comparisons to Naomi Girma, because I think positionally, Jordan Bugg plays way beyond their years.
And Harvey said, never makes the same mistake twice, like Naomi, and said, I don't want to put the pressure on her, but I see so many similarities in where they're at that point in time. They are otherworldly optimistic about what Jordan Bugg is going to be in this league and potentially moving forward on an international stage. Manaka through, O'Sullivan cuts, ball bounces in front, and goes! North Carolina gets one back. Gomez! It is a one-goal game!
Wow.
Laura Harvey's saying that there should have been a foul in the build-up to that. But I think in the end, it kind of falls to Gomez, and she tries to look like she's hitting it on the outside of the foot. It was quite a weird one, really. I'm not quite sure what Laura Harvey's appealing for. Maybe a handball on Denise O'Sullivan. It's a lovely little ball from Manaka on the outside. Denise O'Sullivan does well to keep it alive. Gomez, I don't think she's going for goal in that moment, but who cares? Jess Fishlock tries to carry it in. It was quite a weird one from Gomez. Maybe she did mean that. It's difficult to tell. But again, game on. Jess Fishlock does everything she can to keep the ball out the back of the net. Potentially, they look like they might be checking this, maybe on the Denise O'Sullivan handball, potentially.
If there's anything, it's a foul on Seattle.
The goal is given, no handball.
I can understand why Laura Harvey thinks it hit her arm, but I think it actually hit Denise O'Sullivan's thigh. We'd have to take another look at it.
Well, game on here in Cary. Gomes' second goal for
wow.
the Courage.
Crazy.
And Seattle, on the wonder goal by Bug, maintain a 1-goal lead with half an hour to play. Ferroviaria, not an enormous club in Brazil, and one thing I think the Courage have done brilliantly over the years, they'll find players that are not quite on everybody's radar. This snag by Murphy. And they found Gomes in July of last year, brought her in. Had already capped with the Brazilian national team in 2023. And there is no replacing Caroline. That is a one-of-one player within the Courage. And came in midway through 3 years ago. So he got half a season there. He got the MVP season, then was practically out of the equation all of last year before moving to Man City over the offseason, albeit a fairly late move in the window, all told. As this comes to Sanchez. It looks like they're ready to figure this out through Shaw.
Whoa,
got a lot of options to
I don't know about that.
without the former MVP winner in the team. That's a foul from McLernon.
Yeah, no doubt Caroline is a big loss to this team. We've seen exactly what she can do at Manchester City. I feel like people in England didn't really know just how good Caroline is. And I have the luxury of being able to watch her play now, and she's a top player. But I think North Carolina Courage, they always recruit well, like you said, Mike. And I think they're that team that nobody really likes playing against them. They're hard-working. They've got quality within their individuals. And I think their style of play is very, very good.
Is there an equalizer to be had?
Not
Won't
there.
Be there. Jackson just missed the pot.
You know, there's those teams on the periphery of the four, for example, that we're so used to seeing. And I think we saw last year teams like Bay creeped into the playoffs.
Need to stop counting. The rules
You
changed.
mentioned it before, Mike. Were that team that was in fifth consistently. There was a big gap between fifth and fourth, but they were there.
Yeah, and the big gap between fifth and then 6, 7, 8 was down to the last week. It would surprise nobody if North Carolina were hosting a playoff game in November.
No.
Nobody. But the way the table stratified last year, I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like that in the league.
I think because it was the first time we saw 8 teams being able to make it. That's a high number, percentage of making it. And if you're not making the playoffs in 8, when 8 teams can, then you don't deserve it at all.
Sanchez leading Jackson.
I think there were times, Mike, as well, where teams could make the playoffs, and I think it almost put them out of their misery when they found that they couldn't, mathematically, because it was pretty obvious to teams that wasn't going to make it. But then when it's still mathematically possible, then people are still thinking, oh, they can still make the playoffs. But they didn't deserve to. Seattle Reign last year were poor. And to be fair to Laura Harvey, she didn't always have players at her disposal. She's been able to bring in Maddie Curry this year as well. And we know how great of a coach Laura Harvey is. She just has to have the right players to be able to do what she can do, and all her players fit and healthy. I mean, every coach wants that, but I think when you look at the turnover last year from the team that started the beginning of the season or the team that started the championship the year before, it was night and day, wasn't it?
Yeah. It's Lavelle, it's Sonnet, it's Rapinoe. You can go down the list, and it is extraordinary players in Seattle history.
But those excuses can't be made this year. You know, first year, okay, we can talk about those, but I think this year, no excuses can be made. You've had an off-season.
Good moves.
Reset button.
Oh, too late.
I think one of the big takeaways when we went to Seattle a few times, this ball lobbed up by Williams towards Shaw, bounces, and the clearance comes off of Gomes, although chased out of play by Mason. They didn't really know what ownership was either. Until the Carlisle group and the Sounders stepped in, there was sort of an unspoken, where do we stand in all this?
No, Fish is done, apparently.
That's a bit of a concern whenever you see the shin guards go out.
And they didn't. Laura Harvey spoke about players, you know, leaving based upon the fact that the Seattle Reign potentially could have relocated.
At the worst case scenario, that possibility was sort of out in the distance. It was never a firm reality, but it was never entirely unspoken. within that group.
And I think when you see with a lot of the franchises that now have their ownership groups taking care of off the field of play, it will still take a little while for that to kind of come into fruition. But I think as a player, you try not to think about those things, but it does play a factor and a part in your happiness when you're playing. If you're happy off the pitch, you're happy on it, and you play better.
I agree.
It was the end of a 5-year playoff run for the Reign. And as it was described then, simply too much bleeding over the last couple of years. Meanwhile, Jess Fishlock, you hope that this is just a case of a vet knowing to grab a seat at the right moment as North Carolina started to swing the momentum as opposed to a significant injury.
Calf.
On that calf area for Fishlock.
Jess Fishlock's that player as well that just doesn't go down unless she's hurt. She's just not that player that would go down.
Somebody never said that, chat.
We'll see if Fishlock has more minutes to give. The shin guards back in. That's a sign of optimism. Was the player assistant coach at Melbourne City. We mentioned that time spent on loan, part of the Champions League winner at Leon on loan 2018-2019.
We saw there were times last season and the
She's
season
back.
before
She's
where
limping, but she's
I
back.
remember vividly when she was in Portland and she was on the bench, and it was like every single, she was on the sideline because she was injured at the time and she was orchestrating everything. I've no doubt that Jess Fishlock, when she eventually does retire, you mentioned 200 more games for her at halftime in Jess, Mike, but she's the type of player that will continue to give everything until that day will come, and hopefully she'll continue to play for a lot longer. But I do think there's no doubt a coach in there, a manager in there when she does retire.
North Carolina trying to find an equalizer. This tipped up and Dickey gets the rebound.
I'm quite surprised that Sean Nahas has not made any substitutions within this game. He's the type of coach that usually, you know, coaches start to make him in around the 60th minute or so, but I'm quite surprised we haven't seen Hannah Betford yet.
Seattle on the road here. They'll go to Angel City next. Next time they play at Lumen Field after the international break and take on the reigning Shield winner and championship winner, Orlando Pride. And then after that, Seattle will host Portland. Friday night game on Prime. Couple changes here, so.
Betfort, Speck.
He heard me.
He did. That's what's in his ear. The broadcast, I knew it. Meredith Speck and Hannah Betford coming on. Gomes scoring her first of the season.
Manaka.
And second of her Courage tenure. Betford coming in from Utah over the offseason. Manaka off as well. And so the first change is a double change for North Carolina.
You almost have to. You only got 3 windows.
Someone like Manaka,
Outside of halftime.
Technician, I don't really think has got into the game.
Sanchito. Oh.
Speck.
Speck. Oh.
Sullivan bustling through G. Not that she thinks so.
Sullivan's rowdy.
I'd be intrigued to see where Meredith Speck has actually gone into, because right now, moments ago, we saw her getting into almost that number 9 spot.
Doesn't matter if you get ball, you can still foul the player when you get the ball.
Looks like she's gone to the left-hand side.
God, it's such an annoying cry. I got the ball. Doesn't matter, he still fouled somebody.
My favorite moments last
But that didn't look like a foul.
Off the ACL injury
That looked
she
like
suffered about 11 months prior.
just a bump.
Game late May, early June against Utah, and the applause she got from the crowd. 5 years in North Carolina, did whatever was necessary, was the glue. Through a lot of jubilant times, but a lot of difficult times too.
Comes Fish.
I mean, I was with Meredith Speck in her rookie season with the Flash to now obviously become North Carolina Courage, and she's that player
She
that
is hurt.
will give
A little sore.
150% at all times. Everybody needs a player like that in their team. They'll show up. At times, hasn't played a lot, but will still show up, have a good attitude, be good to have in the locker room.
Fishlock comes out having scored the opener here tonight. In her 200th game, gives 70 minutes. Emery Adamas, who scored the equalizer against Gotham last
Really
week
pink
in
fingernails.
Seattle.
Holy bright.
In for Cerna Gorcevic. And Sam Mesa comes in as well, a former Tar Heel, who Hanson Dorrance once described as the reason why you pay to watch soccer. Also was coached by Laura Harvey during that time span, the U.S. under-20s. And this is a scary sight. Kaylee Kurtz is down. Kurtz, three-time Iron Woman.
Oh, she got a knee to the thigh. Upper or lower groin area. Oh.
I mean, when these players...
The inner thigh, that hurts.
I actually can't get my head around it because this league is so intense. The intensity of practice, the intensity of games. So when players do that, Sam Stark done it last year as well, like before she got injured, and it's like, it's amazing.
I spoke to Kaylee Kurtz about her trip into North Carolina. Here's Sanchez pirouetting around. One back and G slicing. Kaylee Kurtz said she came out of college, and ultimately it was India Trotter who said North Carolina is going to be the best environment. If you can make it there, it's better than playing every minute at a lesser club at the time. So it was a month-and-a-half long trial. The week before she was told whether or not she'd make the team, she spoke to her dad, and they spoke about
what
the
a
idea
ball.
of potentially having the Morna career as this ball thrust back toward goal and the offside flag is raised.
Oh,
Ultimately
out of
found
bounds.
out on the bus ride to the final preseason game
Not
that she
sure.
made the roster, and she's been here ever since.
Where's the offsides here?
2018.
Where's
Here's
the
all this
offsides?
pressure on the back.
Where's the offsides?
Kaylee Kurtz is one of the best stories of a player that came into this league and has earned absolutely everything that she's been given.
You know, I think it's important to have players like that that just get the DNA of a team, that work their socks off, that will give everything. Every coach needs a player like Kaylee Kurtz. And her story's brilliant. We see a lot of stories like that in the league. Players that have been resilient, stayed in a team, sometimes could have moved on. Great story.
Turning Bedford, leading Sanchez. Deflection goes right to Ashley Sanchez. Sanchez in front, and it needed just the touch from Speck. A listed defender, to your point, playing way up the field here, and runs wide.
And this is another example again. Just look at Jaden Shaw on the top.
Oh,
of the
she was
box.
off.
And I've said this in the first half. If Ashley Sanchez just looks up and just plays that little reverse pass to the left, I've seen it in the first half. I think Ashley Sanchez had a really good active game. You see last season, she was their best with goals and assists, but I think that third player run from the North Carolina Courage can really be impactful. That run sometimes is a decoy to the front post. The space is underneath, and Jaden Shaw was the space there. And we saw in the first half as well when there were moments where they could have played Banaka.
The pressure from North Carolina is
good.
building. Ball ahead. Williams, slide tackle from Anharat James Turner, corner.
Again, Anharat James Turner, I think, has been excellent in this game. She's been everywhere.
This game's heating up.
Jaden Shaw crossing.
Good clear.
Up and away, taken
Oh,
out of the air,
Sullivan
and
wanted that.
Vital intervention from Mesa.
Still 0-0. Washington KC, 52nd minute.
About a quarter hour to go here in Cary. Courage trying to avoid what would be a rare season opening loss on the home schedule. They drew last week on the road. Speck across.
Seattle's getting pulled apart a little bit.
Of course, staying in the game, despite taking a knock a moment ago. This comes down to G. Berkeley. Touched ahead, back to Berkeley again. Spins it outside, finds Williams. Cross backside, header down. Shaw!
Oh, saved by your own player. Oh, no.
And now the run out for Deline is on. Kurtz got enough. But now back to
Offsides.
Deline, who tried to stay onside. The flag down for now. Adames joins.
Pretty sure that was off.
Chaos. Kurtz into the back of Adames. Mesa high.
Wow.
Deline
This
calling
game's
for
getting
it
good.
down the line. And instead the attack pitters out for Seattle.
Yeah, I'll be intrigued to see what the Seattle Reign, we can see the substitutions that have been made in Mesa and Adames coming into the game. They're going to keep pressing.
And now Seattle pull into the penalty area.
Saved. G. Block. Oh, man.
Racing in beneath it. Circulating back.
Oh, she should have boomed it.
Slid aside by North Carolina. They're out in transition. Bedford was running up front. Sanchez couldn't release in time.
That was a brilliant block from Williams because G probably thought her eyes lit up in that moment. Was for sure going to go in the back of the net. It was such a crucial block. And I think it'll be interesting to see because Seattle can't keep dropping off in this way. The Courage are at home. They're going to continue to push. And there's still 15 minutes to go, Mike. So they can't keep dropping off the Seattle Reign. Laura Harvey will be looking for them to get a little bit higher. Because in the last 5-6 minutes or so, they're just dropping far too deep for me, the Seattle Reign, which is inviting on pressure.
Can Seattle somehow take the sting out of this North Carolina team? Laura Harvey said it, the secret to North Carolina is how they wear you down with possession over the length of a game. Why are they so good late in games? Because opponents are usually exhausted. And Seattle defending a 2-1 lead here in the final quarter hour on the road in front of a packed house in Cary.
They have to find Denise O'Sullivan there for me a little bit sooner. She was popping into that space.
Sent long, beyond Bedford and Speck. Now they're starting to stretch the game, something that Bedford provided last week, the game that was delayed quite a bit against Louisville. Finished 1 goal apiece. Sears scored early, Riley Jackson scored with about 20 minutes to play. Side split the points, Lynn Family Stadium in Kentucky.
It is a penalty kick.
Offside, Sanchez. It looks like we're going back to the bench. Each team has made 2 subs and utilized 1 moment apiece. Oyama will come in off the bench. Pinto in as well.
Kansas City goal off a penalty kick. 1-0. 56 minutes.
Is done. Her first start for the Courage in place of the
Vanderyacht.
ill Feely Rauch. And then Olivia Vanderyacht comes in for G to try and lock it down in midfield for the Reign.
Yeah, I think G has been very, very good defensively. We haven't really seen her having to get into those areas, but sometimes the game doesn't set up for you to be able to get into the attacking areas. But I think defensively, G was very, very good. I think Pinto coming into this game as well for the Courage. They're going to throw everything out there. It's the last 12 minutes plus stoppage time to go. They've got many different ways of getting to goal.
Ball lofted long for Bedford. Shaw chasing in. Williams couldn't corral. Since the start of last year, these 2 teams have the highest percentage of their goals scored by substitutes. 30% for North Carolina, 29% for Seattle. So when they make changes, as most good coaches end up doing, they have impact.
I think something that Laura Harvey and the Seattle Reign will need to do for these last 10 minutes or so, someone needs to put their foot on the ball. I think they're turning over the ball far too easily, inviting on the pressure from the North Carolina Courage. I think Jess Fishlock going off, I think, has kind of rocked them a little bit because there's no real leadership within the team right now that's saying just get the ball like this, possess the ball, invite the pressure on, just take a little bit of sting out of the game, because right now North Carolina Courage are gaining momentum and they have to go after it. They're 2-1 down.
Dickey brings everybody in and then knocks it long.
And lost possession. Doesn't make sense. Play on.
Effort coming deep. Ball slicing ahead. There's Dickey.
Oh, that's a foul. Just a hip check. I don't think he saw it.
Running centrally, Sanchez on the backside. That was the target. Oyama. Over the top again. Speck full sprint. Options bombing forward. Skew to Vander Yacht. Sanchez went down. Play continues.
Don't let it go out. They're going to look at the review here.
There is other NWSL action happening right now.
Yeah.
Tune in to Ion, Trinity Rodman, and the Spirit taking on the 2024 MVP. And Golden Boot winner Temwa Shawinga in the current later tonight. Ion doubleheader continues as Bay FC hosting Racing Louisville at 10 p.m. Eastern. And then tomorrow, Leanne and I get all the fun. It's a battle, the last two NWSL champions. Gotham take on Barbara Banda and the Pride, 5 p.m. Eastern time on ESPN2. About 15 minutes behind us, that Washington-Kansas City game. So it's a good two-screen experience or a good way to keep the night going when we're done here. Pinto slips through. Angling for space, Anharad James Turner blew it up.
Well done, James Turner. Again, just sweeping everything up in those defensive areas. I think she's been excellent. Denise O'Sullivan, that's one of the moments in the game we've seen her been able to get into those goal-threatening areas. I haven't really been able to see that, but I think that's due to the fact that Seattle Reign have been so good defensively.
Shaw, Sanchez plays across, held by Dickey, falling away. Came down on that a tad awkwardly.
Again, good positioning from Jaden Shaw to play this one out wide. Not the greatest of executions in the end from Ashley Sanchez. It's quite difficult for goalkeepers in those moments because often we see goalkeepers overcompensating to the front post and then it goes sailing over their head. But a better ball in from Ashley Sanchez. They were all lining up there. Jaden Shaw, Pinto as well. But they're going to keep coming at it, Mike, with these last 5 minutes to go for sure. So again, Seattle Rangers need to kill the momentum a little bit, get hold of the ball.
I got you now.
Find the corners.
Pinto, the return. Pinto denied. Shaw brings it in. Shaw tries to clip it through. Knocked
Good
down
save.
and held by Dickey. And Shinomi Koyama, second game for the Courage. unable to square that past Dickey for an equalizer.
Yeah, that was the chance. Pinto's getting into those areas, falls to
You're
Jaden
fine.
Shaw.
Shut up.
Koyama in the end. You've got to put that in the back of the net. To be fair to her, she's just come into this game, hasn't had many touches on the ball, but I think has to pick out the bottom corner for me, right-hand side. Easier said than done. I think has to put that in the back of the net.
O'Sullivan outside, Sanchez, that rings off of Curry. Out for a corner here for North Carolina. They are really pinning down the rain with 5 minutes to play.
Oh God, the camera's shaking.
Metal bleachers most of this stadium, and you feel them rocking from the camera well. Shaw crossing. Header from Kurtz.
Not on target.
Spears it wide.
If this game stays this way, Mike, I think Sean Nahas will be one of those ones where he thinks, how have we not got something out of this game? I think the second half, they've been certainly pushing to kind of come back into this game.
Ooh, we're going old school.
Barnes!
Got the old substitution board up there. So Mercado, who's playing up front, comes out, and Lou Barnes comes off the bench to try and see this out.
Apparently their batteries ran out of their other board.
Year 13 for Lauren Barnes.
Brilliant to see Lauren Barnes out there. No other player would you want to be out there to be able to see out these dying minutes in the game.
We'll get within 200 minutes of 20,000. She sees out the remainder here. But with all the stoppage time we usually get, she's probably already at 30,000. Anywho, all right. Barnes, Defender of the Year in 2016, age 35 season. Goes by Lou because when she first started playing 32 years ago, there were a lot of Laurens on the team, so everyone had to find a nickname, and Lou stuck. Being tasked with helping Seattle see out the end and get potentially just their second ever win in North Carolina. North Carolina's going to have to go about 110 yards to find pay dirt from this position. Off of James Turner.
I think this is the best game I've seen Angela James Turner have, Mike, for the Seattle Reign team. I'm delighted for her because I think last year when she did play, didn't really ever get going. Sometimes it does take a little while to get up to the speed of play. I know she previously played for the Orlando Pride, but I think this league is so unforgiving when it comes to the speed of play. But I think she's been excellent in this game.
Both slid.
Everywhere.
Okay.
On the other side of the ball, attacking positionally.
Sanchez squares. Ball ushered through. O'Sullivan! Knocked out and held by Dickey.
Oh, wow.
That's as good a chance as North Carolina has had all night to equalize.
That was brilliant from Denise O'Sullivan. This is good play again from Ashley Sanchez, always looking active. But look at this first touch from, look at the drop of the shoulder. I love that from Denise O'Sullivan. It's that little intricacy.
Might be another penalty
coming in
here.
Most players would have taken the touch there. No, drops the shoulder. To be fair, it was a good height. She'll be disappointed with the strike in the end because you'd expect Denise O'Sullivan to be going low and hard. Makes it easier for Claudia Dickey, but that's when Denise O'Sullivan's at her best, dropping the shoulder, getting the shot off, and they're continuing to push.
Here is O'Sullivan. Sends long, knocked down by Bug, whose goal right now, stunner that it was, would be the winner. A controlling touch and then unleashed a laser about 35 yards out. Separates the teams here. And we are into the 90th minute now.
Penalty for Washington. Looks like. I can only see the screen. I can't listen to it.
Thomas, maybe that's
like
naivety, maybe it's just trying to play with the defender. Called for the long ball. They'll take another couple seconds off the clock, playing it down the line. We should get a bit of stoppage here. Fishlock did go down midway through the half. See 3-4 minutes here easily.
Whoa!
Big collision. And this is much a stoppage because of the potential for injury as whether or not there's a foul. Speck just got rocked.
She bit her lip or her tongue. There's blood in her mouth.
And the looks of it, might be a bit of blood on that lip as well. Says, I'm good. Seattle is out of substitution moments. Beg your pardon, they've got one remaining.
Oh.
That is a knee right to the face of Mason.
Yeah, that one looked like it hurt for sure. It'll be interesting to see what the referee gives here, because I actually thought it was a foul on Meredith Speck. Although Mason's come off the other end of it, the worse off.
3 minutes.
Well, it belongs to North Carolina here. Pinto the target. Koyama hangs
Good ball.
across.
Oh, what a save! Woo!
Ranging over, Dickey denies Bedford. And we are a full minute into stoppage. We should get to 4 given the elapsed time for the previous injury.
It was a really good ball from Koyama, but
a good
I
save.
think the power on it was the reason why Bedford couldn't generate a lot of power. Actually, Sanchez was actually creeping on the back post. Potentially, Sanchez could have been offside, but I actually thought she was in a better position. There wasn't much power on the ball. It was almost like she could have chested it down in the end, Bedford.
We have not had a stoppage time goal yet this season. Ball across. Pinto's there. Bedford!
Oh, my Lord.
North Carolina, blood in the water, trying to find that equalizer.
Woo.
Yeah, they're continuing to push. I actually thought Bedford looked... Oh, no, she is onside, actually. Jordan Bug was playing her on the far right-hand corner. Pinto gets into a good spot. Doesn't quite fall to Bedford in the end. But definitely offers something different, like Sean Nahas was speaking about. When Bedford comes into the game, she's that player that will stay. You always need a number 9 that will stay in that 18-yard box to affect the opposition's goal. It's all very well having players that can check to the ball and get on the ball, but you need someone that will be in there, make those unselfish runs to create the space underneath.
Thomas gets it away, only as far as Kurtz. Rings off of O'Sullivan. This gets out. Seattle's played 10 games here. They've won 1. It was 2022. Goals from Rose Lavelle, Megan Rapinoe, which in a lot of ways explains just how long ago that really was. Seattle took the lead here at 35 minutes, grabbed a second in the 56th, the wonder goal. Gomes pulled one back. We've hit the 3 minutes. There was an injury at the commencement of stoppage time, so North Carolina not entirely done yet. Ball lobbed along.
Good ball.
Deline chasing. Driven away by Murphy. The offside flag did come up. They let it play out.
Yeah, I'm quite surprised. I mean, I know we don't like seeing loads of minutes added on to the end of the games, but I think the rules are the rules, and I am quite surprised that there's only 3 minutes added on, Mike. I think Sean Nahas will be really disappointed at that.
Doesn't matter what Sean is going to be disappointed at.
We'll go a bit longer. Adamas flicked out to halfway. Deline's got a step, but Murphy had it read. Clearance left something to be desired. Honorad James Turner brings it down. Koyama trying to bring it in. Here's O'Sullivan. Now or never.
There it is.
That's it. It's full time.
Wow.
Seattle's gone to North Carolina and grab a priceless 3 points. What a goal by Bug to win it. And the Reign just their second ever victory and carry over the Courage.
That is more like it from the Seattle Reign. We know historically they have the mentality, that hunger, that desire, that fight. And Jordan Bug, what a goal that was. I'm sure she's still in shock. Like, with the fact that the way she took the touch and got the shot off. But I think overall, the North Carolina Courage in the second half continued to push. How they haven't got something out of that game, I don't know. But this is all about the character of the Seattle Reign team. We know Laura Harvey historically knows how to get the best out of the individuals. And this type of performance tonight, winning this game, I don't think the Seattle Reign team would have done that last season. And look how happy everybody is from Jordan Bug. What a strike.
For just the second time ever the Courage have dropped back-to-back home games. The 38-year-old Jess Fishlock in game number 200. The 18-year-old Jordan Bugg in game number 8 of her NWSL career. Seattle wins it. Pulse game is next.
The NWSL is the most competitive league in the world.
You're watching Avengers Assemble.
I channel my inner Dennis Rodman on the field.
Oh man, the league has grown and it's awesome to see.
NWSL is changing. Almost an entire generation is leaving just as the game is beginning
Wow.
to soar.
What a game.
I'll leave everything on the field, but I want this title.
Our next one up here is at 10 p.m. Eastern. Just under an hour to go. We'll do the post game and then we'll sign off and come back.
Watch this. Watch us move. Watch us fly. Watch us break. Watch us burn. Watch us rise. Watch us rule. Just you watch.
Healing is happening right now, down the street and around the corner. Because for 140 years, Multicare has been in Washington State. Investing in care beyond hospital walls, growing local programs, and expanding healthcare access to those who need it most. Multicare, because healthy communities need more than healthcare.
Swinger breaks free. The shot!
KC Current takes on the Utah Royals. Then the Portland Thorns battle the Courage.
Sanchez fires it.
Coverage begins next Saturday at 7 p.m.
Ion, it's on.
With a focus on seeking the best investment opportunities across global markets, Palmer Square now has more than $34 billion in assets. Now, Palmer Square's expertise is available to a broader range of investors with the launch of 2 publicly traded ETFs and a publicly traded BDC. With options available on the New York Stock Exchange, investors can access Palmer Square's opportunistic strategies, as well as the firm's long track record of investment management. To learn more about investment options, visit palmersquarecap.com.
We live for the NWSL on ESPN. Facts for the trend spins and the silk shrugs. For Double B, the MVP, and the GOAT. For fandom so fierce you can feel it. Because this is more than a league. It's a lifestyle. And we are here for it. All of it. All the time. If you are too, you know where to find us. Gotham FC. Pride. Sunday, 5 p.m. on ESPN2.
What a win for the Seattle Reign. Jess Fishlock, the opening goal, the first time North Carolina had ever conceded first to Seattle in 11 games here in Cary. Then Jordan Bugg, a stunner of a winner, 2-1 the final. Jordan Bugg joins us from the field now. It's Mike Watson, Leanne Sanderson in the booth. Wow, what a win for Seattle. Let's just lead with that. How valuable are these 3 points away in North Carolina?
I mean, I think it's really good on away trips to get these 3 points. We've been practicing this whole offseason to not do as bad as we did last season, but I think that today we worked as a team. I mean, second half was rough, but we've been working so hard, and I think we played super well together.
Jordan, now we're delaying the inevitable. You know why we've got you on here. Not only you're a fantastic defender, but this goal, my friend, like, come on, like, talk me through this goal. What a strike.
Honestly, I just saw the ball come down to me, and I saw no one was in front of me, and I literally just kicked the ball and hoped for the best. And
I mean,
and it went in.
Don't do yourself a disservice. I mean, it almost looked like you were in shock afterwards, but it's one of those ones, isn't it? As soon as you hit it, you know it's going in, right?
Yes.
You hit it so sweetly.
Yes, I did. I mean, I just looked up and it was in the net. I haven't had the chance to watch it back, but I mean, everyone said it was pretty nice. So
Make sure you watch it about 10, 20, 30 times tonight, because I would, and I will be.
Yeah, that's right. Jordan, tremendous performance as it pertains to this Seattle team. You are unbeaten through 2 games. You're up to 4 points through 2 performances. What's going to make this group special? What's different this year around your team?
I think we just want to win. I think the mentality this year is different, and I think going into this season from preseason, we just knew that we had to do better. I mean, we've gotten some great players, and I think we've worked super hard to be able to do as good as we have been doing.
And Jordan, after your first year in the league, you know, how do you think that experience has helped you for this season?
I think I've been a lot more confident this season. I mean, last season coming in halfway, I didn't know what to expect, but now coming into the season, I'm much more confident and more comfortable with the team and everything.
Jordan, we're going to go watch all 8 camera views of your goal over again. Thanks for the time. Congrats.
Thank you.
Oh, my gosh. Jordan Bugg, what a night. North Carolina and Seattle. Let's take a look at the full-time highlights now. And, you know, Maddie Deline right out of the gate.
Yeah, Sunagultovic here, I think, should go towards goal, but I think Deline was active. She was one of their best players in this game defensively and on the attack. And then they get their goal for all the work, you know, down the side. Mercado does really well here, picks out Jess Fishlock. It's a great strike from Jess Fishlock. That third player run, Mercado does a really good job at squaring it across goal. 200th game for Jess Fishlock, and she deserves that. No one other than Jess Fishlock is more deserving. And then it was the North Carolina Courage that came back into this game.
Nope.
Jordan Bugg, actually, sorry, gets the strike. It's a fantastic strike in the end. What a strike this is. I could talk about this all day long. What a goal. I'm going to watch this. If I scored a goal like that, Mike, I'd be celebrating till next year.
Unbelievable in the 56th minute. So Seattle a 2-goal cushion, but 3 minutes later, North Carolina's right back in this.
Yeah, this is the goal I was talking about previously. It's a poor giveaway from the Seattle Reign. Really good play from Denise O'Sullivan. Pulls in the end to Gomez, and because she's Brazilian, I would say she actually meant that because they're crafty in those areas. I love that type of creativity. When I first saw it, it looked like a bit of a nothingness, but that was a great finish from Gomez in the end.
But it's not nearly enough. North Carolina does, in fact, possess more of the ball, but Seattle just as many chances. They were exquisite on the night on the road.
They were, and I think the Seattle Reign first half defensively was one of the best performances I've seen in a long time from a team in the NWSL. But I think we talk about the North Carolina Courage and the amount of possession that they have. But Sean Nahas, that stands for nothing if you can't put the ball in the back of the net. Second half, I thought the North Carolina Courage were the better team. But again, Jordan Bugg with that goal, that deserves to win the game.
And so Seattle takes all 3 points here. We mentioned yesterday, Portland and Angel City finished 1-1. The Current getting a penalty from Lola Bonte to jump in front of the Spirit in the second half. Later tonight, San Diego, Utah on NWSL Plus, and Bay Racing will have the Ion Spotlight.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one, Mike. You and I are on that one. Gotham FC, Orlando Pride tomorrow. What a game that's going to be.
Meanwhile, take a look at what's going on the field now. Jess Fishlock about to get, Jess McDonald about to get her flowers. Jess McDonald, 2025 Ring of Honor inductee, joins our favorite podcast host, Sam Mewis, in the inaugural 2 inductees of the Courage Ring of Honor. 2-time champ, 3-time Shield winner, 84 appearances, 24 goals, was with the club at Western New York and came with the club to North Carolina. Her impact on and off the field, one of a kind.
Yeah, brilliant person, brilliant player. You can see she's getting quite emotional there. She was my teammate with the Flash. We won the championship together, and what a fantastic person Jess McDonald is. And I love the fact that North Carolina Courage are doing this Ring of Honor. Sam Mewis previously, now Jess McDonald been inducted into it.
And when leagues and clubs have staying power, this is when you can start honoring your legends. McDonald is certainly one, and our broadcast colleague. All the while, the final score here, Seattle 2-1 over North Carolina. Coming up 10 p.m. Eastern on Ion Bay, and racing tomorrow 5 Eastern. The last 2 NWSL champs, Gotham and Orlando from New Jersey on ESPN2. We'll be there. Make sure you are too. For Liam, our entire team, Mike Watts saying, thanks for watching. The Reign reigns supreme in North Carolina. Good night.
Thanks, chat. We'll see you in a little less than an hour.
A Maximilian winner, and the evidence is everywhere. A crisp custom.